Okay, so picking up where we left off, we're on page 183 looking at this somewhat minimal looking diagram of what a UDP header looks like. So one more time, UDP basically says that it's not responsible for the reliability. It doesn't mean it's not reliable, it just means it ain't my job. Perhaps somebody else is doing it, perhaps not, I don't know. It just ain't my job to do that. Okay. One tiny little thing we need to talk about, and it's after the end of the chapter, part of the kind of like the reading notes. They talk about latency in the financial markets. Let's say I've got a computer program that's designed to do complex trading on the stock exchange. And so I receive a piece of data coming back from the stock exchange, and it's a new price, and it sets off some trigger for a buy order. Okay. If I'm 2 or 3 milliseconds faster than my competitor, I actually have an advantage. Yes, I have an advantage because I can process those trades faster than he can. So latency in a network is very much important. I saw this thing on 60 Minutes last year where they talked about the only way they could figure out how to basically to break this cycle was they went and got, like a spool of fiber optic cable and made sure that the links of all the, with like the service that was going out into these 5 different locations, that the links of all the cables was exactly the same. Even though the distances between the two, all 5 points might not have been. This could be like, 1 mile over here and 5 miles over here and 7 miles over here and 2 miles over here. They had an extra spool of cable in the basement so that the physical length of the cables going to all 5 of those customers was precisely the same, so that the latency on the network was exactly the same, so no one of the competitors had an advantage over the other. So this networking stuff is kind of important. There's even a case study in the book talking about, they were laying an overseas, underwater cable, and they wanted to have the straightest route, but it would have cost millions of dollars to shorten this cable by just a tiny bit. So how many millions of dollars did they spend to get 6 milliseconds of latency to disappear? They're willing to spend one heck of a lot of money. So latency and speed is why you'd use UDP. Okay, cool. Now we have reached the end of the chapter, and we'll see you again in some future chapter.